So today we have a renowned scientist and neurologist from Sri Lanka, Professor Renil De Silva, who is the director of the Interdisciplinary Center for Innovation in Biotechnology and Neuroscience. We are extremely privileged to welcome you, Professor De Silva. We feel very much honored to make use of your genius for the audience of the Shalom Television. A very cordial welcome to the Light of Truth program of the Shalom Television.
Thank you very much, and I really appreciate for inviting me and to try to share whatever we have done. And main objective was to have in the Sri Lanka a close relationship.
Okay, Professor, kindly tell us something more about yourself and your activities currently.
Mainly, I work on healthy brain aging. If I ask one question, have science and technology been able to conquer healthy brain aging? I'll just give you a few examples of world statistics, and then you can understand what I say. If you take dementia, in every 3 seconds, somebody in the world get dementia. And if 4 seconds, somebody in the world get a heart attack. And somebody in the world every 5 seconds get a stroke. So you can, by the time we finish this interview, the number of dementias, number of strokes, number of heart attacks, number of cancer tremendously gone up. And this will go on even further because the world is aging. Over 60 years, people are living more and more. So therefore, this problem is not going to go down, it's going to go up. So therefore, what we have to really understand is, have we been able to solve this problem, and where are we? I'll just want to give you some statistics on the neurological aspects. In dementia, in 2015, we had 46 million people, but they are expecting to be 131 million into 2050. So you could see how much people are going to go in this area. The numbers are increasing. And now if you take only Alzheimer's disease, it's $1 trillion disease. And in few years, it's going to be a $2 trillion disease. So it's a lot of money, a lot of people, and a lot of suffering. So health science and technology, what we have done, have been able to conquer the brain, and for us to have a healthy brain, brain aging.
Okay, very good insights, Professor. Let me ask you, see, this has been an ambitious dream of science, particularly of genetics and so on, to conquer aging. Scientists like Stephen Hawking and such have been hoping that one day it will be possible to even reverse aging. Are you optimistic in this regard, or are you thinking that these are utopian projects that scientists blindly cherishing?
In fact, what I could see is we are moving away from nature. As long as we move away from nature, how much ever science and technology try to conquer, it's going to be hard. But if we work together with nature, then there is a possibility, at least a remote possibility, that we will be able to achieve it. But if we are moving only in science and technology direction, forgetting nature, because if you look at nature, all these actions have synergetic effects, and you take only one and try to see whether that part only works. I mean, it's going to be successful is not that.
Yes, Professor, I really see the elements of your critical reflection for anything healthy development in science. This sort of striking balance is very, very important. Now, let me ask you, in responding to the issues that you initially highlighted in regard to our poor performance with dementia, Parkinson's and such and such, would you like to highlight some of your own contributions as to what exactly are the areas that you wish to develop and what are the future prospects that you see for this sort of researches in future?
And if you ask me what is the greatest gift India has given to Sri Lanka, that is Buddhism.
That is?
Buddhism. Because we consider the greatest gift that Sri Lanka got from India is Buddhism. I mean, 2,500 years ago, we received Buddhism from India. And there is Buddhist meditation techniques, which has been evolved over thousands and thousands years ago. And if you go back, I mean, Buddhist priests, still the caves are there. Archaeology has proven the thousands and thousands of priests have been meditating in the forest. And even now I could see many of the foreigners, millionaires, I have met them, I have spoken to them, millionaires in Europe have come back to Sri Lanka and in the forest they are meditating. So this actually gave me idea to work on whether meditation is a good indication for healthy brain aging. And I was lucky enough, there was an American monk who used to come to Sri Lanka once a year. And there are about 20 meditators also come every year. The same people are coming. I mean, they are from US, from Dubai, and there were 2 MBBS doctors from India also, and Sri Lankans. So it's a small group, and I spoke to the chief priest and I said, Sadhu, can we have a EEG recording before they start the meditation, and after 2 weeks after this training? Then everybody agreed, and we got the engineering faculty of Sri Lanka, the biggest engineering faculty, to have the portable EEG machine, so that they will not, the putting the wires will in no way hinder their meditation. So we carried out this experiment on people who have been meditating, Buddhist meditation, for considerable time in their life. And these actually I don't think we took from Sri Lankans, but we actually took everything from foreigners, right? And I mean, in my slides I will show that statistically we proved that that people who have been meditating longer period of time, their EEG patterns showed a remarkable sense of peace in their mind. And actually the people are not aware of the names, because it's only I know the names. But when I look at them, even when you look at their face, you can tell it. He's a person who is very calm. His mind he has conquered. And obviously when you put the EEG machines and try to monitor the EEG, because as a medical doctor we know only one part of it, but the engineering faculty, they know how to analyze all that waves, various type of waves, alpha, beta and theta, all those waves, and gives a p-value. And we found that exactly there was a statistical significance on the people who has done meditation.
I think it was a decade ago at Oxford Center of Mind, a similar research was held at Dr. Miguel Farias and his team. they were examining as to whether meditation, particularly religious sort of meditation, does it have any impact upon the intensity of the pain that a patient undergoes. And they found a positive correlation between meditation in the decrease in reduction of pain altogether. The same experiment that you are speaking about goes very well in consonant with this data, I think.
And actually in US, if you look at some of the universities, they have faculties purely on Buddhist meditation, and it's similar to yoga in India. And I think if we both combine ourselves, yoga and Buddhist meditation, it's something unbelievable. Science behind yoga and science behind Buddhist meditation, we combine together between Sri Lanka and India, that will be one of the greatest gifts we can give to the world.
Yes, Professor, this is a very good insight. We Easterners should proclaim this sort of ideas very strongly. But even in the West, there is a strong thinking that this sort of mix up of the age-old wisdom, ancient wisdom with the contemporary sciences is something quite unfashionable. We are trying an unpleasant cook up between, unholy mix up between the East and the Eastern traditions and the Western science altogether. There are some critically minded thinkers like that also in the medical field. What would be your response to them? Or to put it more concretely, is there any sort of justification from the contemporary neuroscience, or is there any scientific neurological plausibility for the traditional claims of the Buddhist traditions that they gain respectability in contemporary times?
Basically, it's scientifically, it has been proven beyond doubt that Buddhist meditation, by way of hypertension, way of pain, brain aging, I mean, if you can, now science, what we should do is, science has developed technology. We here in India and Sri Lanka, what we should do is take those technology and prove our theories. That is exactly what we should do. And Americans are doing, I mean, the West is doing that in a big way. I mean, even if you look at things like hippocampus, where our memory is stored, right? I mean, they have shown that meditation has been able to maintain the volume and the integrity of the hippocampus. So beyond doubt, I mean, Buddhist meditation or yoga or even music therapy, they have all proven that they do really actually help in brain aging. So I mean, just because people could criticize, but what I personally feel is, we here should work together as a team, utilizing the technology and prove ourselves and give the world the greatest gift.
Okay, to take our discussion a step further, say renowned neurologists like Vilayanur Ramachandran or Andrew Newberg, they all together have developed a new branch of theology and science itself, which may be termed as neuro-religion or neurotheologians. Their basic claim is that religiosity is something inbuilt in our gene. We are biologically programmed to know and interpret God. For us Easterners, it is easy to appropriate these sort of claims. As a scientist, how would you like to respond to these sort of scientific claims that religiosity is there inbuilt in our biology?
Earlier, if you look at few years back, the idea was that genetics is inbuilt. But now, another word has come, epigenetics. Genetics is gene, you can't change, and that's, for example, if you have some gene and you are going to get this disease, you get it. So gene is gene. But science have found there's a special field on epigenetics. Epigenetics could be changed by meditation, by food, by exercise, by mental relaxation, and so many things. So therefore, epigenetics too play a role like genetics in these areas. So obviously, you can't just only pinpoint to one area and say genetics, but beyond that there is epigenetics, which has been proven beyond doubt that it has an influence on human diseases and human well-being.
You are inclined to think that its epigenetics has implications for our religiosity also, something along that line? Certainly.
Definitely, yes.
Very good. Say, as a neurologist, as a scientist in the brain sciences, if I ask you a general question as to, given your long exposure to the mysteries of brain, what is that is making brain so marvelous? Have we ever got wondered at the marvels of brain? This is only a general question for our popular audience. What are the complexities or the intricate structures of the brain that is becoming so complex and fascinating? For instance, our Ramachandran would say brain is the most complex thing that nature has ever produced, and this is the best product of the brain, nature itself altogether. The intricate connections in the brain is completely unparalleled given the other realities of the world. What would be your personal appropriation of the mysteries and complexities of the brain in general?
General, I should say, how much you try to do research, still it will be impossible to come to the bottom of it. I mean, we have conquered, if you look at various diseases like infection diseases, typhoid, malaria, but have we been able to conquer at least one neurological disease? So we don't know the mystery of the brain. We are lost. We are only grooving in the dark. So there's a long, long way to go. So that's why I say we have, I mean, in our religion, yoga, Buddhism, and the saints who have been in India and in, they have preached so many things. Why don't we look at them? And then, I mean, some of the work that we have done, for example, when I say epigenetics, because I have the biggest, I should say, the biobank in Southeast Asia. We have the brains, we have the blood. And what we have done is various diseases like Huntington disease, spinocerebellar ataxias, Duchenne muscular dystrophies. I mean, we have been trying with various natural products, and we have seen we can cure, but their clinical features could be protected or prolong a better quality of life through various natural products. So there is what I said, working through epigenetics.
I appreciate your critical insights in this regard, that we still know only very little about brain. Whereas on the other hand, there is another group claiming that one day we are going to conquer all the mysteries of the brain. They coined the term metaphor post-human human, which says that we will even overcome the limitations of the present brain. Why our brain is so limited? Because we all are formed in the womb of our mothers. The size of the uterus conditions the size of our brain also. This is a statement by Stephen Hawking himself. If we can grow brain in the laboratory, in a petri dish, we will have super intelligent humans. Given your critical reflections on the neurological researches, I am inclined to think that you are not likely to endorse these kinds of post-human dreams. Am I right?
Absolutely. Actually, I am a bit optimistic because, I mean, as I have started this talk, if we move away from nature, and I mean, we will be not achieving our objectives. And I'll tell some of the work that we have done. We collected 76 brains from Sri Lanka, and we collected 50 brains from India, and actually we were really helped by Professor from NIMHANS, Professor Shankar. He was a father of, I think, neuropathology in India, and he is also the father of neuropathology in Sri Lanka, because he really taught my students. And what we did was, it was one of the biggest ever studies done in this region, where we have done almost all the neuropathology, like Parkinson, stroke, supranuclear palsy, frontotemporal dementia, and almost all the dementias we did. It's one of the biggest studies we did. We did the immunohistochemistry, we did the genes, and ultimately what did it come? The report, which published in Journal of Alzheimer's Disease and Current Alzheimer's Research, it's very clearly showed that people who are vegetarian, people who eat more and more yellow vegetables, green vegetables, drinking tea, their brains had less neurodegenerative pathology. So now, isn't it that what thousands and thousands years ago we were taught, we have moved away from that, and we are now getting westernized, and my statistics should have shown that we are paying a heavy price, moving away from our old traditions. So it's, here we use the Western technology, and we proved what you said is what we are there. And this is epigenetics. Epigenetics, whatever the genes would have been there, we did the genes also, and we proved that even if the genes are there, epigenetics has a bigger influence, and especially,
Professor, if you don't mind, would you kindly clarify that terminology a little further as to what this epigenetics for the popular audience, because that is central to all the arguments that you are passing.
Now, genes is something, it's in the chromosome, right? And that will, for example, there are two things can happen. If you have the gene, you can have a disease, but also the gene and environment together will decide whether the person will get a disease or not. So this environment part will change the methylation of the chromosomes, and thereby the gene will be there, but gene will not be able to act by himself because of some external factors controlling the gene. So that is what is called epigenetics.
Okay. Are you also engaged in some sort of researches along the line of this artificial limbs? Say, today we speak quite a bit about bionic eyes, bionic hands, and so on. We can be critical about the claims of the neuroscience, and exaggerated claims we should be critical about. At the same time, the manifold blessings of this development, say something that recently our news magazines reported, that the blind has been restored of sight with bionic eyes. Are they not these sort of developments very much promising? Could we not also be optimistic about this sort of developments?
Yeah, these are optimistic, and absolutely, we should keep an eye open. But at the same time, what I should say is that we shouldn't forget about our past.
Yeah, certainly I fully agree with you. What about this, may not be exactly in the area of your research, but as a scientist I would like to collect your opinion as to how would you evaluate or assess the ambitious dreams of the artificial intelligence, robotics, and so on.
Now, for example, if you look at US has developed artificial intelligence on human diseases, Watson, but has it been able, it's fast, but has it been able to be better than a doctor's brain? Ultimately, who decides whether this person is having this disease? It's not the artificial intelligence, it's the doctor. So still, artificial intelligence, even now, with all the technology in US, shall not been able to go above the doctor. Actually, it is the doctor will take all the data from the artificial intelligence and he decides. It's not the computer who decides. So ultimately, whatever artificial intelligence, still brain is above.
Yeah, very good, very good. Okay, Professor, as a neurologist, someone researching in this field of the brain sciences, have you ever thought as to what would be the most exciting moment of your career as a scientist? If you have any quick intuitions as to maybe something that you came across in your research, new striking insight or information that you received, or something of your own innovation in your life for our popular audience, would you like to highlight something of that sort from the scientific field?
Scientific view, what I should say, what I saw the most was our nature and the past. And I have worked on various, some of my post PhD postdoctorals are working on Ayurveda preparations, and it is fantastic. I mean, we can't even dream that mixtures somebody gave us. So why not we really? So what I would say is, going back and back in my research, I have proven that that is the most interesting part of our research.
Okay, then very good. Okay, considering the critical way that you are approaching the brain researches, how would you altogether envisage the future course of development in the brain researches? We are even after creating artificial life, synthetic biology, all those things are there. At the same time, you are equally concerned about the ethical and the challenges that it poses to our tradition and so the cultural sensitivity, all these things that you are upholding. You are a man standing for the intersection between the East and the West here. You really wish to draw the best in our Eastern tradition also. All these things I would appreciate. What would be the new paradigm for brain researches that you would be personally envisaging?
I should say it should be multidisciplinary and utilizing the technology, what we have developed so far, and at the same time testing what our forefathers has written in oral leaves and go beyond that. And I'm sure, we have shown that, I'm sure that answer is there. Because if you look at the science and technology, what is going on, the cost is very, very high. And how much people could afford and what were the results, is it practically you can give to a mass? These are all questionable. They are, if you go back, it's for the entire masses at a low cost. I have been invited by Dr. Gulia tomorrow to give a talk to the very young budding neuroscientist from this region, not only India. I think there are so many people who have come from abroad. And my take-home message will be that there are so many things at our doorstep. Why not you take it and utilize those things and look at the forefathers, what we have given to us, the Ayurveda, the meditation, the yoga. Even we have shown that intellectual power of the brain, again, we have shown that the neuropathology is less. So therefore, utilize your brains. So this is exactly what people have been doing. So that's the take-home message tomorrow I'm going to say. And also what we have done with genetic testings like Duchenne muscular, spinocerebellar ataxias, and Huntington disease and various diseases, and how we have been able to work on these areas.
Okay, Professor De Silva, thank you very much for sharing these beautiful insights with us. Your sharings have been really stimulating. In you, I find a rare blend of the East and West, of the modernity as well as the tradition, which is really missing in contemporary scientists altogether. In that regard, I must treat you as an exceptional genius. It was really an honor to make use of your genius. I wish you all the best for your dreams with the future researches in neuroscience, and I am sure that you will be able to contribute immensely to the rapid progress of this field. Once again, a big thank you to you,
Thank you very
Professor
much,
De
sir.
Silva.
Thank you.